Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Thought by thought, action by action, we build our character as well as we experience our life accordingly. It is what values we entertain, what attitude we have, and what type of actions we do in this world that takes us to the higher worlds of longer joy or to the lower worlds of long-term sorrow, depression, etc. What actions we do determines our life. Hence, what values, attitudes, what should be our ideals, and those positive qualities which are called as Daivi Gunas, divine qualities that make it conducive for us to live in harmony and happiness in this world and to get that meditative poise to know our eternal nature of happiness. At the same time, the attitude, the arrogance, and the hatred that the diabolic have in their life, for which they ever live in a world of darkness and sorrow, frustration, agitation, greed, and 3 other doors to such a world of suffering. One may call it as hell, and that is desire, lust, anger, and greed. These are the sure doorways to suffering. And therefore, Bhagwan has already warned us that these causes of our suffering, when we are anxious to eliminate and we are ready to work towards it, these values have to become our own virtues. And the right way to act in this world, by which we free ourselves from the limitations and bondage, our likes, dislikes, and desires. And there are so many actions that are generally told to us. Even for health, we have got so many options. Bhagwan gives us one clear instruction on how we should determine the actions that we should do, what attitude we should have, and what is the means to have that right knowledge. And Bhagwan instructs, Tasma Chhatram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavastitau Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam karma kartum iharhasi. How do we know what is right and wrong and be free from our confusion and have a firm resolve? If we introspect and observe, what we like, we call it as right. What we dislike, we call it as wrong. And even in others, what we like and dislike determines we considering them right or wrong. This self-deception and not being clear as to what is right and wrong and the consequences we alone have to bear, then how do we determine what is right and wrong? Because very often our right and wrong is colored by our own whims, fancies, desires, greeds, and our own likes and dislikes. But what is right and wrong has to be determined not by our whims and fancies, but through the right means of knowledge. That means of knowledge which has been tested over a period of time, that which has been experienced and lived, that means of knowledge is called as an authoritative knowledge. And that which has this authoritative knowledge from not just one, but many such great personalities that have lived their life and gained the wisdom of what is right and what is wrong through their life experiences is called as a Shastra. Not just any book is called as a scripture or an authoritative textbook of that science. That's called as Shastra. And therefore Bhagavan says that let Shastra be the authority. Here also one thing, very often one person's thought, ideology, however good it may sound, or even one person's proclamation, unless it has got the precedence and the authority of precedence, it cannot be considered as valid. Finally, knowledge has to be gained as guided by these great instructions given in the scriptures by the great masters. Life has to be guided by that, and we can be sure of what is right and what is wrong. And when we act as guided by them, it becomes our direct experience, it becomes our wisdom. And therefore Bhagavan says, let the scriptures be a guide in determining what ought to be done and what not to be done. And having known it, having understood it, and therefore a proper study of these books of knowledge and understanding them, and with that proper understanding, practicing or performing with that right understanding, one should act in this world as prescribed by the scriptures, what is our duties and how we should perform our duties. Let the scriptures be the guide. What we should do and what we should avoid. But this conflict does remain in our life. And Krishna's concluding teachings concluding, most powerful instruction that instantly can end all the causes of our sorrows. Bhagavan says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma suchaha. You'll understand now why Gurudev has emphasized the regular study of the scriptures and living our life according to those ideals. And when we live our life accordingly, then we become fit for the highest knowledge, for the highest discovery. And whatever we may have understood, finally Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Tyajya, giving up, abandoning all dharmas. Take refuge in me alone. Take refuge in this one me alone. This word dharma, in various shades of meaning, we have explained. But if we take it in a literal meaning as duties, that Krishna that has emphasized that we should do our duties, if it means that abandoning all duties come to me, then it will be very limited in its understanding. But the great acharyas explain that giving up both dharma and adharma and its results and its attachment to these results, take refuge in the one self or in that one Ishvara. Come to me. Of course, this is dramatized very beautiful in the Bhagavatam, that all our duties are to free ourselves from our likes, dislikes, desires, and our repetitive vasanas, karma bandhan or bondage. And when all duties are done, it is done for the sake of the truth of the Lord. Even righteous actions, if it takes us away from the truth or Lord into indulging in its goodness and its joys, then it has to be abandoned. Because that attachment takes us away from the infinite happiness. However, all actions we do is for this happiness, for this infinite self. All duties are for that supreme itself. And if duty takes us away from the supreme, it is not our duty. And therefore the gopis of Vrindavan, when Krishna tests them, that how come abandoning all your duties have you come to me in the middle of the night in the forest? They are very clear that all duties are performed for the self, the Atma. And when it is that opportunity that we can abide in this self, then abandoning all external expressions, turn towards the one self. The seer, the Atma, the self, the subject is one. The seen are many. When Bhagavan says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, Gurudev has explained that this verse, this final verse, is the verse of total surrender of the highest meditation. Dharma also means the essential quality of a thing. At this moment, identified with the body, mind, intellect, we take up the dharma, the qualities of the body, mind, and intellect, and according to its needs and desires, we do the various actions, right or wrong, good or bad, duty or that which is not our duty. By saying Sarva Dharman Parityajya, giving up our false identification with the qualities, needs, desires of these equipments, body, mind, and intellect, and the actions of this ego, the perceiver, feeler, thinker. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Come to me with your mind and intellect, abandoning all identification and the actions born out of those identification. To me, the one. And when we turn our attention towards that one, the many dissolve. And so also the limitations and sorrows, pains, agitations, confusions of our body, senses, mind, and intellect, they dissolve. At the same time, there is only one duty, and that is to surrender to the Lord. All duties are for that. And therefore, abandoning all that, Bhagavan says, come to me, the one. And here is the promise of Bhagavan. Aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishami ma suchaha. I shall free you from all sins. Ma suchaha. There will be not even the cause or even a thought of sorrow. Don't you worry, don't you grieve. I, the self, in which everything dissolves to become one, in that you shall be free from all sorrow, for the self is of the nature of bliss. Ananda is its nature. And therefore, don't grieve. And surrendering to the Supreme Lord, the totality, Ishvara, who has the presidential right or the presidential power to free us from all our sins. Sins is not some crime done against God. As Gurudev points out very beautifully, Sin is that action which rebounds to us in a form of a reaction that causes agitation and sorrow. I shall free you from all limitations, from all causes of sorrow. In fact, free you from this ego and its consequent actions and its results, the very cause of our sorrow. Don't grieve, for the Lord does not hold our sins. Even if at this moment we feel we do not have the knowledge and we do not know anything, just surrender to the Lord of the universe. Bhagwan says, I shall free you from all the causes of your sorrow. One person wanted to test a great saint. Seems that that saint was in connection with the Lord for the public. So this person wanted to treat that person as a fraud and went and said that you are in communication with Krishna. Then ask Krishna, what sin have I committed? What sin have I committed because of which I am suffering, but nobody else knows of that action that I've done. Only me and God knows. So that if this person, this saint, tells wrongly, he can tell the world that it is a fraud. And anyway, he had made up his mind that whatever he says will be a fraud. Next day, the saint said, I asked the Lord, I asked Krishna, what is that sin you have committed in hiding, that gruesome sin that only you and God knows? And Bhagwan said, I have already forgotten it. Why is he remembering it? Surrender all our hopes, expectations to that one lover of the universe. And Bhagwan says, I shall free you of all sins. And as the highest state of knowledge and meditation, turn your attention towards the one seer, the consciousness, the self. And when you turn your attention towards who am I? Who is that shining divine being in my heart? And as you meditate, turning your attention towards the self, surrendering all your anxieties and your identification with the body, mind, intellect, the equipments. And as the mind becomes calm, in that stillness of the mind, where the self as though dissolves the seeker into itself, into himself, and all causes of sorrow come to an end in that infinite, eternal, unchanging, unending bliss. These are the final words of Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Giving up all other identifications, come to me, I shall free you of all agitations. We can only abandon and in love come and surrender. It is finally that infinite bliss that makes us dissolve in itself to make us bliss. These are Krishna's powerful instructions that summarizes the entire Bhagavad Gita and how we live and measure our performance and what we should perform so that we attain that happiness that we are seeking. Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda dedicated his entire life in the teachings of Vedanta because it is only this science that can give us that means to eternal happiness. So much was Gurudev's love for the entire world, humanity, that this loving song of Sri Krishna, every day of his life, he spread to millions of people and told all of us that study 2 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. And the best commentary you will have of Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda to live this knowledge. Therefore, he wanted the study groups for discussion so that we understand the Shastra. And Gita is the essence of all Dharma, Shastra. It is the very essence of spiritual knowledge, Brahma Vidya. And Pujya Gurudev, his love for it was, and I remember I was with him in that last place I visited with him before his Mahasamadhi. One who is merged while living in this world itself. Such a master. When he spreads his love, it is only to bring maximum happiness to maximum people for eternity. Even at the cost of his life. When doctors had said your heart is not functioning, your body one day has to go. Yet the power of love that flowed through him, that he would continue to lift our mind to understand this knowledge so that we are inspired with clarity to live it and to experience it directly. I remember how we used to stop him by various means. And he used to look at us and say, their minds were just tuned it up and I was just giving the highest knowledge. If I stop there for my life, then tomorrow will I be able to take them to that heights immediately? And in the sense he pointed out to us that tomorrow will I be able to be there to take this physically? Little did we understand that time that he would go and reach from one end of the world, from Sydney to San Diego, covering the entire world in his Virat Rupa, in his totality, and merge this body into its elements and become the one infinite self everywhere in us. And he said, look within and you shall find me within. On 3rd August is our Aradhana Day, the day of Mahasamadhi, where we express our gratitude through such surrender, devotion, and our gratitude. Join us in his great state of Samadhi. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Dharma, at this moment, as an ego, we are living the dharmas of the body, the mind, the intellect. We are so identified with the body, mind and intellect that when the body demands anything, I think that it is I who want it. I am the body. I am the mind. I am the intellect. If the mind is unhappy, I am unhappy. If the intellect is agitated, I am agitated. So at this moment we are living the dharma, the nature of the physical, the mental, the intellectual sheaths. Sarva dharman parityaja, giving up all your sharirika, manasika, bauddhika dharmas. Sharira dharma, the nature of the physical body, and its physical, fleshy, sweat-smelling demands. I want to see, I want to hear, I don't want to smell. Renounce it. Similarly, the qualities of emotions of the mind and the thoughts of the intellect regarding the world outside, don't identify with them. Sarva dharmam parityaja. But how am I to give up the BMI? Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Come to me alone. By thus lifting your attention from BMI to that. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Come to my sharana, my shelter. Hold on your attention to me exclusively. Without tripping your attention to the BMI and their objects. OET. Exclusively to him. By such doing such a thing, Swamiji, abnormal thing, nobody is doing it, and you are asking me to do it. Why should I do it? What is the benefit of it? Not that you will realize me. No, no. I shall remove you from you all your aham tvam sarva papebhyaha, from all papa, all your negative and positive vasanas, I shall save you. Liberate. Meaning by these quiet and alert and total attention, when turned towards him, in the steady moments of total contemplation, in the heat of that meditation, all the vasanas become impotent. They cannot again sprout out as a desire, which in its turn become agitation, which in becomes selfish action, desire-prompted actions. They are there, but they are incapable of any more producing, sprouting. It is something like roasted seeds.
The Mananam series, inspired by our Puja Gurudev, and over the years, the dedicated teams that have worked to bring to us books with articles on various subjects with such great depth and practical applications that those of us who have read it have found it to be greatly beneficial. I'm very delighted that the new team has come up with the latest book, Am I That I Am?, which speaks about our identity crisis. A very pertinent subject, and today I'm delighted to release this book and request all of you to subscribe for Mananam.
Hari Om. The cover of this Mananam issue is colorful, and the theme is to indicate how strongly our perceptions are colored by wrong identifications. The crisis that we face is due to absence of right perception. Mananam issues have covered many topics in the past, and the list of those topics are printed in every issue. The content of this book divided into 4 parts, indicating how in 4 stages of human life we face identity crisis and how we can solve them. There are thought-provoking quotes by men of wisdom of all ages in this book, such as this one from Rumi. The preface succinctly covers the overall thought process and the treatment of the subject. This book begins with inspiring thoughts from Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomayananda ji. We have also included introduction to topics in each section with appropriate brief messages such as this one found in the Bhagavad Gita course material and a quote. Just to give you a glimpse of the topics, here is the first article by Steve Phillips Waller on the topic How to Find Yourself. Main focus of the articles in the first section is for teenagers and youth who face intense identity crisis as they turn into young adults. Gurudev's vision about Mananam is to compile informative, inspiring insights from thinkers of all walks of life, which can help us in our reflection before we embark on applying the relevant teachings in our life. To enable this, we have also introduced pointers for reflection at the end of every article, followed by a brief introduction about the next article. The back cover has a short note on the topics covered in this issue, as well as the list of contributing authors.
The Mananam team that worked on this book for several months is eager to reach this to your hands with a fervent hope that you will immensely benefit out of it. Thank you.
Om Shri Chinmaya Sadguruve Namaha. Hari Om. It is said that the ocean has a lot of water, but one cannot drink from it directly. We need the clouds to bring to us the sweet water from this ocean, and only then can we quench our thirst. Bhagavad Gita is like an ocean of 700 verses. And for us to benefit from Bhagavad Gita, We need a teacher who, like the clouds, can bring to us the sweet essence of this text. On behalf of Chinmaya Mission West and the organizing team at Chinmaya Mission San Jose, we offer our sincere gratitude to Puja Swamiji for guiding us through KPIs, Krishna's powerful instructions through this Jnana Yajna. The points Swamiji mentioned about enduring through situations by having an inspiring goal, and also the point about assurance from Bhagwan, is something that we all need to dwell upon, especially in these current times. We seek Swamiji's blessings to implement these KPIs in our lives and also move forward on our path of sadhana. Over the past few months, for many of us, our days either began or ended by listening to Puja Guruji's or Puja Swamiji's discourses. And I sometimes wonder how our day would have been if we did not have this opportunity for satsang. Any word that comes to mind to express gratitude to Puja Swamiji and Puja Guruji keeps falling short. As per our tradition, at the end of every Jnana Yajna, we will offer our Guru Dakshina. This is an offering of love and also an expression of our support to continue Puja Gurudev's vision. So those of you who wish to offer Guru Dakshina can do so through the online link below. Tomorrow is August 3rd, which is Puja Gurudev's Mahasamadhi Day, also observed as Aradhana Day. So we will come together for an online program called Chinmaya Samarpan. This program will be streamed live on the Chinmaya channel from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. And I hope all of you can join and be a part of this program because it has some very special elements that you would not have seen before. Lastly, we would love to see all of you in person at the Mahasamadhi camp next year in San Jose. The registration for the camp will be opened shortly, so please stay tuned and check out the website cmsj.org for more information. Hari Om.